Welcome, welcome. I'm going to bring my guests on. Welcome to the show. Guys, we've had false predictions. We're in extreme fear, and we have a bad macro environment. And as we go into the evening here on Sunday, we've got Bitcoin teetering on the edge of absolute critical support. And if we break here in the next hour, we're going to have a very ugly Bitcoin and crypto afternoon. We're going to see a flush down. This isn't going to creep down. When you break critical support, it flushes down. And I just wanted to comment. I know that people are frustrated. Let me know in the comments how you feel about crypto right now. We're going to bring on my special guest and get an initial reaction to the crypto summit, as well as some important updates of what actually came out of that summit event and what more do we know right now. I'm going to go over that with you guys. But let me just talk about all of the forces out there that are misleading and incorrectly guiding. Max Kaiser, he tweeted an hour before President Trump's crypto summit. He said, I predict we cross $100,000 in the next few hours and cross $120,000 this month. This is very hard for the layman who's not full-time looking at Bitcoin charts. It's very hard to sort out all the information that they're getting, all the technicals, all the analysis. It's why I'm doing my show. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time thumping my chest, but you guys know that I sold the top. You know that I sold every last one of my altcoins at the end of November and went into a heavy trading mode in the month of December, and I did well with that. And I have been wanting to find the bottom, and I've done some dabbling and some trading, but the fact is, the bottom just keeps getting lower on everything. And every time I take a little risk, I put my stop loss in and it kicks me. And then I leave it alone. And that's how the trend has been going. But we're getting ready to get some hard questions answered. I'm going to give you the answers before we even get to the place where we have to face these price points that are ahead of us. I've got some predictions for you, and I brought on some special guests to help balance and get a fair perspective of the bullish and bearish case for Bitcoin right now. Welcome to the show. Thank you for smashing the like. Hit subscribe. I'll tell you one thing about this show, Stocks with Josh, is that I have, from the day that I got on YouTube, I have given you guys hard predictions. It's not always going to be right? But there are disciplines that you put in place to protect you when you're wrong. And if you follow some of the predictions and you follow all the disciplines, I think you will make more money. Welcome to the show. And let me bring on my special guests. Today we have Stock Up in the house.
Hey.
You know, hey, man, this guy's not been around. He's been busy. He's been taking care of family. I feel very privileged to have him on the house. And I'm telling you, Larry's got his finger on the pulse. But Larry, I'm going to come to you in just a minute because I know that you've got some things to share. And then we've got Tribal Trades. Mark, this is the true degen. Larry and I will tell you, we're market guys and we're crypto guys and we've made big bucks on it. But I'm not a crypto degen. I don't really keep an eye on the next micro coin under 100K. Okay. That's where I get Mark, man. Mark is very much attuned to what's going on in the, in the most speculative stuff. But he's also got his eye on the big picture because all of us are here trying to make money along with all of you guys. Welcome to the show, Larry. Welcome, Mark. Larry, just kick things off with how you're feeling, and then let me take your time. Let me know your thoughts on the crypto summit as well.
It was a bunch of crap. Next question.
I love it.
So I went live and had a lot of people watching, and I voiced my disgust. Now, I didn't expect much from the crypto conference. Okay, so there's a number of things that happened. I'm going to front end this by saying, had Washington stayed out of Bitcoin altogether, I believe we could probably be at least 120 to 125 right now on Bitcoin if Washington had not hijacked the narrative. So we first had a meme coin killer called the Trump coin. and this is not, well, I'm not going to say it's not political because politics did play a part in it. And it absolutely murdered, turned around, came back and put FOMO to the head to the meme coins, the whole meme coin industry. And it's been dead ever since. Look at the chart. Then we had this summit, all right? So it's like hope, hope, hope. And I believe that the market had priced in, Josh, that it wasn't going to be much, okay? I believe the markets had started to price that in. But here's what made it worse, if you ask me. Remember, I always listen to words. Before the summit, it was like, hey, never sell your Bitcoin. Josh, you and I were at the Bitcoin summit. And then at this meeting, it's, never sell your Bitcoin. That's what they say about, but what do I know? And you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it was nothing concrete. Everything is bagging off now. We just got to tell the truth. One thing about Josh and I, we look truth in the face and tell it. Then, here's what I do like. The best thing about that crypto summit is that it's behind us.
Oh,
And we're
snap.
not, yes,
Yeah.
it's the best thing.
I
Number
agree.
two, we do have a little more clarity on policies, okay? We know that we are not buying any Bitcoin right now or any crypto right now. We're holding what we've already confiscated, right? Until they find a way to purchase more crypto without using taxpayer money. Sounds like a governmental document because it is. But like I said, the best thing about that summit is that it's behind us. Now, I'll tell you the most damning thing that they did. They came on, they had this kiss fest, kiss the king's ring, and boom, the feed went dark and they sent all the media out of the room. That was,
Tells
if
you a lot.
ask me,
Tells you a lot, doesn't it, Larry?
that was the kiss of death.
That wasn't an
Now,
accident, guys. Come on now.
exactly. And so what I will tell you is that when he did that signature the day before, that was a sign that it wasn't going to be much to that meeting. And I said it, right? But that's what I'm going to say leading up to this is that's what the kiss of death was. The good thing is, I'm going to tell you what I'm surprised about, Mark and Josh. I'm surprised that crypto didn't sell off more immediately after that meeting. I looked at crypto. I was amazed that it hovered around 84, 83, 85. I was amazed that Bitcoin actually held after that meeting. I yield the floor.
Well, thank you. Real quick, I had a couple people ask me, who are these gentlemen? Let me tell you, stock up with Larry Jones. If you're found my page before finding Larry's, this is a good friend of mine. He's a momentum trader. I believe that he has a great perspective on the pulse of the market. And I'm going to tell you, my favorite thing about Larry is that he knows when to cut stocks that are losing. He's not a bag holder. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to time the top and the bottom perfectly, but he'll cut stuff loose. I've noticed way before the sentiment or the bullish narrative eventually dies, he tends to get out of things sooner. Now, I'm going to talk about one of those things, and that's the miners. Miners, Larry was saying in the middle of last summer that he was done with the miners. And I saw video after video after video, people saying, what about the miners? What about the miners? What about the miners? And to this point, we share what we're doing. We share how we feel, but it's up to you to figure out whether or not what we're saying makes sense. I'm going to quickly comment on Big G. Big G said, you sold the top, but you didn't give us a strong reason to convince us to sell or to stay on the side. You are 100% right. I sold the top and I told everybody why I sold the top, but I was very fearful that I had made the biggest mistake of the year and that I was going to be the laughing stock while all of you guys got richer while this just went into altcoin season, because I also had been saying previous to November that we should get that altcoin rally. But here's exactly what happened. And I've shared this with you guys many times. I create targets. When I enter a trade, I have an ideal target as to where it might go and where I might take profit. I also have a stop loss and an idea of where I might buy back in if my stop loss gets triggered. I do that as a discipline for every single trade I get into. What happened in the end of November? All of my cryptos hit my targets. And I said to myself, well, I was going to sell this. If Sui got to $5, I was going to sell. Here we are at $5. And everything began to hit my target. Ondo at $1.60. I said, well, I was going to sell this. Cake was a little bit lower, but it was very close. My target for cake was 5, and now we hit, I think, 420. And I thought I was going to sell. This seemed one of the areas that I was going to consider selling. Everything hit its target, and I thought, you know what? The MACD, the momentum, oscillating indicators are firing on all cylinders. It's highly unlikely we're going to get more pump here. It's more likely we're going to cool off. So when I originally sold, I thought, you know what? It's very bold. Let me clean house. Let me wipe it all out. It could be a mistake, but I just have a feeling it'll come back and I'll buy back in. The problem is the dip kept dipping. The dip kept dipping. Mark, real quick, there's a lot to get out in this video. I have a lot of content that I need to deliver to you guys affecting this week, but we're going to go through. I want everybody's feedback. Mark, I've got other questions for you, but right off the bat, what was your take on the Crypto Summit, and what are some of the takeaways that we did learn?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of a mess, to be fair. I agree with Larry. I mean, they had a bunch of thank yous and then they made the room dark and then it's been media silence. I think what we know is that the Bitcoin the strategic reserve is only going to be Bitcoin, that there's going to be no altcoins in it. That's in a separate stockpile. Just as Larry said, they can acquire more Bitcoin in a neutral budget way. And I would assume that would be things such as maybe from the sale of federal buildings. They even suggested some gold could be sold. David Sachs even said that they could sell the altcoin stockpile to buy more Bitcoin, for example. So they were looking and exploring ways in which they could add to their Bitcoin stash there. So I think that does give some positivity there. But like Larry said, that's great to have it on paper, but what is the clear plan for that? What does that look like? And I think that's what people wanted to see, that we just don't know. Is that going to be 6 months, a year, 3 years, 4 years? I mean, the good news is they're holding the Bitcoin that they have and they're not going to sell that. And then, of course, the altcoin stockpile, it doesn't look like they're going to add to that unless companies were going to donate to that, but I don't see the value in that because the US government said they could well likely sell all of that to buy Bitcoin. So I think there was confusion because the previous Sunday, their tweet that came out, we all saw it, and Solana and ADA and XRP all shot up. And then there seems to be no real mention of them. They're not in the stockpile because they weren't previously seized assets. I know Ethereum is there and Link is there and a few others. And so it's really unclear what role those altcoins are going to have. Is there going to be some tax exemptions for made in the USA? There are rumors that possibly people could pay with their Bitcoin profits and pay for their taxes that way and get it as, no taxes on that portion of the profit from the Bitcoin. So there are a lot of rumors and things that have been talked about, but nothing is clear. Everything, it doesn't seem very well planned out. It doesn't seem very organized. It just seems like people are sending out messages here and then it's different a week later. And so I just think people would like some clear communication, some clear guidelines. And if that is the case now that we have that, and of course, we don't know what has come out of the meeting. So I think I want to know, that I know we all want to know, is there anything else to come from that? What is the roadmap looking forward for Bitcoin and crypto assets? And I agree with Larry. I think now it's just good that it's behind us and we don't have that hanging over the market. Now, we have other things hanging over the market, and we can talk about that later, but I feel like those things are not, I feel like it was a distraction for me. And I do feel it was a very much a buy the rumor, sell the news event. And I think we all felt that was going to be the case. But now it's just a matter of when Bitcoin is going to find its bottom here and what are the catalysts that are going to bring Bitcoin and the crypto market forward from here, because we do need some catalysts.
I love that. And that's going to feed me into my next question here for Larry. But before I get that, and Larry, before I get to you, would you be in a position to pull up the fear and greed index and comment on that? And so I'd like your commentary on the fear and greed index, and I'd like your commentary on what catalysts do we have ahead of us. But before I do, I want to give my commentary on the crypto summit, and I'm going to keep it very, very simple. The crypto summit was the hit of hopium that we all needed last week, and we found that that drug isn't working anymore, and now we are turning to copium to get us through these tough times. We need to figure out should you be holding your crypto? Should you be buying this dip? I'm not buying right now. I'm trading only, and the only successful trades that I've had have been to the downside. And every time we get to critical support and I buy it up and say, okay, maybe this is the bounce spot. This would be a beautiful spot if we bounced here. It turns out not to be the bounce spot, and my stop loss kicks me out one more time. So while Larry's pulling that up, I just want to comment on what we have going on this week and where the markets left off. So we had 3 hard, heavy selling pressure weeks to the downside here so far. We just came off of the 3rd week. Now, on Friday, we came up a little bit off of our lows. If you guys have followed me, you know that I've identified a pattern that more than 2 times, a total of 3 times in the last couple of years, we've had 3 weeks down, and the 4th week has been a reversal. Personally, we came down to critical support on all of the Magnificent 7 except for Meta, but it's at a huge psychological support of 600. And I'm expecting, for a fact, at bare minimum, a dead cat bounce this week. I believe that we've come down enough to justify a pause in going lower until we get more data. Now, what's the more data we're going to get? We're going to get it this week. It's the PPI and CPI. It's coming back around again. So on Wednesday, March 12th at 8:30 a.m., 1 hour before the market opens, we're going to get the CPI inflation data. Basically, if this thing comes in hot, it's going to crush our rate cut hopes. And then on Thursday, we're getting the PPI inflation data. That's coming out also at 8:30 a.m., an hour before the market opens. So it's a real gamble. It'd be great if it came out when the market was open. We could react to it. We can only react to the reaction once it comes open if we're dealing with options and other things. Basically, the PPI is going to be your production costs. This is going to be if the companies that are selling to us have had an increase in costs. And I'm going to tell you that they're likely to come in hot, and it's likely that's why the market's been crashing. The tariff wars, let me just explain this real quick because we had this play out in the GDP, and we're going to have it come out in a bad PPI. All of these companies that don't want to have to pay higher prices from Canada, Mexico, and China are going to be trying to get these goods in before the tariffs come into effect. And I can tell you that that's already going to cause the price of goods to spike because they're going to be rushing orders. They'll pay a little bit more they'll pay 5-10% more to avoid 25% more here in the coming days. And so we're going to see the PPI come in hot. And because of that, it takes off the table the opportunity for a rate cut. And so this has all been priced in. So we're going to watch how the market reacts, but largely, I believe that we're going to possibly go green. We came up our lows on Friday. This is at least a dead cat bounce. At most, it could potentially lead to a turnaround moment, but there's no guarantee for that. The problem that we're in, guys, is that we came down so hard and so fast from all-time highs. We hit the 200-day moving average on almost everything. And the fact is, we're likely to bounce here, but if we break beneath it a second time, that's not good. It's never been good. That's how 2022 went. Everything came down, bounced initially off the 200-day moving average. That's where we're at now. Within the next couple of weeks, it crossed back beneath, and we had a very ugly year. Not predicting that. I'm just telling you that this week that we're in and the following week will tell us almost everything we need to know about 2025. Larry, real quick, before I come to you, the whole FN show put a coffee cup a heart and a kiwi. I wanted to explain the kiwi because up in the right-hand corner is Kiwi Mo. He's not Kiwi Mo, but he got that nickname along the way. So somehow that emoji stuck. Very good, sir. Larry, what are your thoughts on the big data we're getting this week? And I also wanted some thoughts on the fear and greed index.
Well, let me add one more thing to Producers Price Index, which is the PPI. Usually CPI, Consumer Price Index, comes in first, those numbers, and then PPI. Every now and then they flip, so you get the Producers Price Index first, right? So consumer, what we pay, the producers, what they pay. Another thing that could front end PPI coming in higher is they're rushing to get these goods and services over here from these other countries, Canada, Mexico, China, before the tariffs hit, right? Now they're ordering in bigger amounts also. Now that extra storage fees, and Josh, they also put an index on how much inventory these companies have. That is another number that they gauge. So it's not looking good. I mean, most of the tariff stuff is going to be priced in next month's PPI, after it actually hits, or if it actually hits. But so we'll see how these numbers come out. Now, you asked me to go into the fear and greed index,
Yes, sir.
Josh?
Yes.
All right. So here we got the fear and greed index, right? And I love looking at this if you're a trader, because you could literally trade off of this. As you can see now, you could see that we are here, and this is fear. Now, what I want you guys to get used to doing is go back to the history, because this is going to help you know exactly where you are. It tells you where you were last month, last week, and yesterday. Yesterday, we were at 25. Right now, we're at 24, which means we're trending down towards extreme fear. So here we go from fear, and then here we go to extreme fear. But there's always a big but in the room. If you go down here, you could see where the yearly low was and the yearly high was. And just look at this. The yearly low was fear. The yearly high was greed. And so if you look at this index and you see let's go here to the bright orange, right? That is generally in a uptrend going into a bull market. This is usually when you buy, right, Mark? And then when you go into extreme greed is usually when you sell. You guys see that?
Yeah.
Right. But now we're in extreme fear. Josh will also tell you that when you're in distribution, this gets more tricky if we're not for sure heading up, right? So we just had this crypto summit. So now we are news driven. Let me show this right quick, Josh, and you're the chart master. Okay, so let me show you guys this. And Josh, I want you to shine more light on it. If you look at this, Bitcoin bears target 200-day average, right? This is really, really important. So if you look at this with the 200-day average, if you're in a upswing, if you're in a bear market and you got plenty of run room, then every time we hit the 200, it was an absolute time to buy, right, Josh? It was an absolute time to buy, right? And so these swings are humongous swings. But because there's fear, uncertainty, and doubt right now, and we don't know, Josh can give you the perfect chart right now, and a tariff news story tomorrow can absolutely reverse what he just gave you, right?
Yeah.
Because a huge news story can reverse everything. Now, here's the dichotomy we're really in, Josh. The dichotomy I see that we're really in, and Josh is the chart expert, all right? These are ghetto charts, okay? What I see is, I remember 2021 like it was yesterday. We had, remember this huge run-up, Mark? And then we had this
Yes.
we had this retracement went, and then we ramped right back up even after falling over 40% Bitcoin. And then what? Right
53.
back up.
Yeah.
Okay. And so here's what's difficult to me, Josh. Is where we are right now. If you look at this, this is a mirror to this. Boom, boom.
Yeah.
Are we here? This is what we're trying to find out. Are we here? You see where we are right here with this big red candle? Are we here again to where we're just going to bottom out under the 200 and then run right back up? So what that means is, Josh, to me, you could sell right here, even if we're right here. Let's say you sell right here, but then you get a confirmed turned around and get back up in here, and then it goes back up. Or you say, I'm going to hold through the red because I believe we're here, and you just go away and don't look at your portfolio and then come back and we're up here. Follow? But we don't know that. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, listen,
know
they're not going to hand us this money, folks. We're going to have to come and figure out how to take it. We got to make big boy, big girl decisions. Larry, I love that. You're 100% right. Yep. I'm going to throw a question to Mark. I'm curious, Mark. So this is a really simple question, and I like it. Nee said, "Why is Trump still accumulating?" And you and Larry, when he's done with it, you take a stab at it too. I have my answer, but I'm giving you guys the thunder. Mark, what are your thoughts? Why is Trump still accumulating?
Look, that is a very good question. Somebody asked me that today, why he keeps buying ETH.
And, at bad prices, too. He's buying them at bad prices. He's not good at timing the bottom, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, exactly. It's not even a made in the USA coin. So, unless there is something coming down the pipeline that we don't know about, they've talked about the Federal Reserve getting on a blockchain. That's quite possible that it could be on one of those. But really, I think the thing you have to ask yourself is it makes it difficult for people out there because they do keep buying at bad prices. And amongst all this economic, and Larry's spot on, he said it's a news-driven cycle, and that's 100% right. The news is driving the cycle. And what is the news that is driving the cycle? The tariffs news driving the cycle. We've got Doge driving the cycle, the Department of Government Efficiency, because they're cutting spending. And so there's less money going into the markets. There's less money going to the economy. Those 150-year-olds are not getting Social Security no more. They can't go out and buy their favorite stocks and crypto. Okay. Right. And so we got a lot of cuts, whether you agree with them or not. There are a lot of cuts being made, and that money is no longer in the markets. It's no longer in the economy. We've got inflation, and we are waiting to see what the inflation numbers are going to be. We've got rate cuts where Powell keeps saying, hey, no rate cuts, no rate cuts. He's waiting for something to break. And I think at this point, something looks like it is going to break, and we are going to possibly get some kind of rate cuts. They went from 3 rate cuts down to 1 rate cut, and now the market is predicting another 2 to 3 rate cuts just because of what we've seen going on. And remember, in the last bull run, I do agree with Larry, by the way, in the last bull run, we had low rates. We had quantitative easing. We didn't have tariffs. We didn't have the Department of Government Efficiency. So I think Bitcoin's doing very well considering all that. And I agree with them that I'm surprised that it didn't dump harder or further. I think it's been very, very resilient in that case. And I do think that this drop here does feel a lot similar to the April and May 2021 drop. Actually, Bitcoin dropped a lot more than what it's dropped so far. I think it's dropped about 30% so far, but it dropped from 65,000 all the way down to 28. It's a 55% drop. And altcoins dropped 60%. Total 2 dropped 60%, but some other altcoins dropped a lot more, and most never recovered. So I think if you're in altcoins right now, you'd be a little nervous because we're either in an April, May drop, and that means most altcoins are not, they've put in their highs already for the cycle, or we're going into a bear market and they're never going to recover. And that's why people are going to Bitcoin. And let's face it, if you measure up most altcoins against Bitcoin, if you look at your altcoin with Bitcoin on the chart, Bitcoin has outperformed the majority of them. So I think people went into altcoins wanting to get the bigger gains. And unless you got those altcoins early enough and got a good position and then were able to make on those gains, like the Solana. I bought some Solana at $12 again for the second bull run in a row. And when it got to 290, man, I was out of my Solana. I got 10% left of that position. I just sold like crazy. I was in Bermuda and I was just pumping that sell button.
Well done.
And so Bitcoin, this has been the Bitcoin bull run. And, I do think that there is a possibility that we do go down into a bear market for her. But of course, you have to think that that's possible. You have to plan for what if. You prepare everything else in your house and whatever, to make sure, hey, worst case scenario. I mean, I expect the best, but I also want to prepare for the worst. And I think most people got caught out in the cycle for two things. One is that they didn't sell. They didn't take profits when the profits were there to take. They didn't sell those big green candles. They didn't they didn't panic sell the big green candles. They bought them. And then I think secondly, something that you preach and teach all the time is they didn't have a stop loss. So they didn't have a strategy for when things got bad and they lost their positions. And so I think it's important what we can learn from the cycle, and hopefully in the future, we will get finish this bull run and we will get a new all-time high, is to have an exit strategy to the upside and have an exit strategy on the downside. Know when you're going to sell and how much you're going to sell when your coin gets into a green zone, and know what you're going to do if it gets into a red zone. And I think that's where most people that I'm hearing back from are feeling the pain right now. And you said it at the beginning of this video that people are struggling because they're worried now, and I get emails about this and comments on my YouTube. They are fearful, and they're fearful because they don't know if they should sell now, because they don't want to sell the bottom, and they shouldn't be in this position. We know this. And then secondly, they're fearful that if they don't sell, that this isn't the bottom and it just keeps going down and we go down into a bear market. And I think that is the number one thing that people are struggling with right now and need answers for.
Well, I'm going to make some hard predictions today. That's why I came to do this show, not to just talk or chat. I could be spending time with my wife and family, but I've come out here and assembled this crew so that you guys could hear and get a perspective on what's happening. But let me just remind you, these are predictions I've already made. First, after I had told everybody that I had sold, when we were around 100K, I warned that February was showing enormous lack of volume and momentum. And I said, watch carefully in February. If we lose 90K and close this month under 90K, then we're in serious trouble and have to evaluate if the run is over. Now, that was just as strong of a prediction as when I told you I'm taking profit. It's a good time to take profit. Now, I'm going to give you more predictions. In this show today, it's up to you whether or not you take them as seriously as I take them. And I'm going to tell you, when you hear me say that I've put 7 figures back into this crypto market, then listen, I'm never going to come out here and tell you guys to buy. I can't do that. Matter of fact, I was advised just the other day by legal counsel not to mention how much money I'm putting into anything. These are liabilities to me. Nothing that the three of us are saying are a suggestion for you. You need to do your own research. The best you're getting is 3 gentlemen that are in the market, and me in particular telling you what I'm doing with my money. If you hear me say that I'm loading back up, well, that tells you that I believe that it's worth loading back up. Now, I'm not loading up right now, but I am seriously eyeing this potential breakdown. I agree very strongly with what Larry said a little while ago, that it does look like we've had a hard sell-off, and if we maintain and just mimic last year's cycle, the likelihood is that we'll get another wave. Now, let me comment on that. There's another hard prediction I've made. I've told everybody that I believe, okay, now you can't make decisions on me, but I'm sharing my decision with you. I believe that we will get back to 100K. So that's a prediction. I'm predicting that we'll get back to 100K. Somebody would say, well, why aren't you buying? Well, we're still falling. When we stop falling, I'll start buying. My next prediction is that we're going to have one of two tops ahead of us, and it'll tell us a lot about where we're at. We're either going to have a lower high, 100K, or a higher high, which I've said based on Fibonacci, which works for me. Price is truth. I follow the charts. Fibonacci tells me this thing would slow down around 114,000 and really hit a wall at 116,000. So that would be my next spot. If I bought in here into the 70s, if I buy $1 million in the 70 range of Bitcoin, I'm talking about spread across various assets, I would be taking my profit around 114 to 116. Your biggest question and your biggest problem that you have to solve is if we get back up to 100K on Bitcoin and then we begin to lose steam, but you haven't quite recovered all of your losses on your altcoins because you're 5 cents or 10 cents short, will you sell? And if we got to, and you say, well, Josh, we might get to that 116. We might. And then if we got to that 116, Josh already told you today, Sunday, March 9th, that he would sell. I'd probably sell 80%, if not all. Would you sell? Or would you believe who was the gentleman that I quoted at the beginning? I'll quote him again. Mr. Hopium dosing Mac Kaiser. Would you believe him when he told you that we're going to get to 150, 160, 170? Think about this for a minute, guys, and put together a trade plan. If you follow me, you know that that's the point of being a technical trader, is to have a trade plan, a point of entry, a point of exit. Let's very, very quickly go to the charts. I'm going to show you guys. Let me see if I can pull up Josh's chart, but it doesn't look like. Give me a minute. Yes, it's good. Okay, guys, let me quickly give everybody an overview, and then we're going to get some very important data from Mark, technically, and Larry here in a minute. Now, double top. We're going to go through basics, guys. Double top, okay? Very ominous and bearish. Now, how do you gauge how low it will go when a double top is confirmed? And how do you confirm a double top? Well, you confirm it by the break of the valley. Well, you see, that's why I told you guys that 94K was what I refer to as the POC, the point of control. And how far down will it go if the valley breaks? It'll go down the distance of the break, okay? And look at that. Look at that, how technicals line up. So technically, this double top has been fulfilled. Technically, we could reverse here. So I wanted you guys to really see that today. The current candle theory direction that Bitcoin chart is pointing us to is that we had a double top bearish breakdown. We got the prediction that it gives. This is an area where we could bounce. Now let's just take a step back. Let me clean up my chart. And we got some very important things to go over. If the likes get up to 1,000, and I'm sitting at 500, but I've got over 1,000 people watching. If the likes get above 1,000, I will tell you guys my top crypto watch list going into the winter or going into the final pump of Bitcoin. If it's not there, I'm going to just say, see y'all later next week. Now, it's not that I don't love you, but you got to show up and show the love. Okay, look at this horrible candle we've got right now. No wick on that bad boy. Now look at all these other candles. It's Wick City, wick, wick, wick. No wick. So right now, we're in serious danger of continuing down. If this day ends and we have a flat red candle, it means that we're going to get another push and drive down and make a lower low. And you can see that's all we've been making is lower lows and lower highs. So for one, we're in a bear trend, and we don't have and Larry said this, and I just always want to point out the things that you guys are hearing. We don't have a confirmation. He said you could just let this bad boy come down and then wait to get a couple green candles and, make a new high. Now, why do I have 94K on my chart? Remember, that was our point of control. Here's what, watch this and just let me show you one thing on momentum, and then I'm going to make another point. Okay. This will be a little bit tricky, you guys are learning, and some of you are advanced, but look at this area right here. Okay. It's very, very similar to what we've got right here, okay? And that was right here. Now watch this carefully. That was right here at the end of the very close to the end of the pivot of that March consolidation, the MACD began to behave the same way as it's behaving now. And after that, we actually had a dead cat bounce, one more higher low, and then it was rockets. Now, this is very, very important. If you look at the MACD, and I study these things, this is what I do for a living. This is what I'm good at. Everyone's good at something. I like the charts. That gets me excited to find these patterns. And if you zoom in very, very closely, you see that we have very similar characteristics here. Very, very similar characteristics. It's been sort of fighting and compressing. This looks like a spring, guys. Do you see that? It's like a little spring getting ready to compress. And when we move, this is where we could easily get a move like this, but ultimately this could be giving us a setup for the next move. So the reason why I'm doing this video today, let me come back to the guys, is because I'm wanting you in advance. You know, someone said earlier, Josh, you did what you did, but you didn't convince us. There's two things. I showed you my trade plan. I showed you what I'm watching in the chart. I showed you that we're already at a fulfilled level of a previous candle pattern. I've showed you that the MACD is coiling up. I told you that at bare minimum, I think we'll get a dead cat bounce here soon. I think that March, I don't know that March can do it, but if March could do it, it needs to close above 94K. Here's the next prediction for everybody who's writing this down and really thinking about it. The only way that I believe that we're going to get to 100K or 116K is if we can close above 94K in the month of March. And that's going to be a tough, tough assignment. At that point, I want Mark to talk about, and we'll come to you, Larry, next to get a reaction and some thoughts. Mark, you and I were chatting the other day. I sometimes wish those conversations could be, shared. I was like, if there was somebody waiting nearby to film our conversation. But share what we were talking about, and you shared with me about how many the times it took Bitcoin to break above the various whole dollar amounts or psychological levels. Could you review that with us?
Yeah, the key psychological levels, such as the first time Bitcoin broke $1, it required actually 4 crosses before maintaining above this level and then creating support. The $10 threshold, also 4 crosses. The $100 threshold required 7. The $1,000 threshold required 8 crosses. You'll see a theme developing here. The $10,000 threshold required 14 crosses to finally break through and then hold a support and then never come back to that again. So the 100,000 threshold, currently we're at around 6 crosses and likely needing more than the 14.
Okay. I really like to underline the things you say, Mark. So just go through those numbers one more time slowly. Could you give them to us one more time?
Yeah, the $1 threshold was 4, as was $10. The $100 was 7. $1,000 threshold was 8. The $10,000 threshold was 14. Currently, the $100,000 threshold is around 6.
Okay, guys, listen, Mark's brought some fascinating information to us, and I like to follow patterns. I like them. That's what makes me happy. Patterns are fun.
Yep.
Every time you've gotten over a psychological level, the $1, $10, $100, $1,000, $10,000, $100,000. It's taken more effort. It's the SWAT team hitting the door, and they got to hit it more times because it's a bigger threshold. So we've only hit it 5 times, right, Mark? And the last time we had to hit it 14 times. Did I get that right?
Correct. Yeah, 14 times to get over 10,000. So it was a psychological level that provided some pretty stern resistance, and I think, we'll probably see the same with that 100K level. And eventually, I think we'll see where 100,000 becomes a support level rather than resistance. But also historically, we see high volatility around this level. And I think that we've seen that. I think that we have. And I think that also historically, those levels, that $10,000 level, there were extended periods where Bitcoin price was below that level. So what's happening right now is quite normal compared to those other psychological levels historically.
All right. And let me share something with you. Guys, take the crypto hat off and just listen for a moment, right? Basic charting will tell you that the longer price consolidates at a level, when it eventually breaks above that level, what was resistance becomes support. And
Yes.
this is not a surprise, and it actually has a very strong bullish undertone to it. We should have expected that it would be a tough battle at 100,000, and that's all we're seeing. I personally, I think, and I'll let Larry speak for himself. And it's easier for me to be hopeful because I have money waiting, but I'm personally thinking there's another opportunity here for us. But we do have a lot of unpredictable things, and we've got forces like exchange manipulation. And I'm not beating on Trump. I am glad we have a pro Bitcoin, pro crypto president. His messaging, unfortunately, I've got to give him the rating of suck eggs. Okay.
Yeah.
And if he can improve, but let's just be honest, you can love Trump, but not love everything he did. Is it better than having a president against Bitcoin? It is, but it's not quite what we need just yet. But maybe there's still room for improvement in this crypto cycle. Larry, give me your thoughts real quick.
I have a couple of things, and I'll just get it. I think they're very important.
Okay, wait. Pause.
Yes, sure.
Spy Lord, Michael, if you want to jump in, dial in, brother, and I'll throw you in the show. All right, go ahead, Larry.
I have a couple of things that I wanted. I didn't kind of finish that where I was in that chart, so people will say stuff. Remember, guys, right now a lot of emotions are just up. Right, a lot of people are emotional right now. And you even got to be careful of what you read in comments right now, right? We get it. You guys just want us to tell you what to do right now. Well, all we could do is take our everything we've been educated on until this point and give you guys the facts. It's up to you to do what you want, but we're at least guiding you in the right direction on here's some things you may consider. That's all Josh, Mark, and myself are doing. This is what you need to consider right now. Let's be clear, because we could wake up tomorrow morning, like I just said, and the president say all tariffs are off, and the stock market could bounce by 10% over the next 48 hours. And what do you think crypto's going to do? It's going to, even with all of the bad news, it'll go up. So please take everything we say with a grain of salt and do your own. Just think for yourselves right now. Right, Mark? So listen, and and another thing Mark said, it's not one size fit all. Look at where he bought his Solana. Look at what price he bought his Solana. Now, somebody, Mark, bought Solana at the top. So Mark, can afford for this thing to fall greatly because of how much he's up. Follow? Now, I have more cash today in Bitcoin because of all the stupid limit stop losses that hit today. I have no meme coins left. They all triggered because it is up to each individual one of you to set your own limit stop losses, period. And at some point, I don't care if you set it at a 50% loss. I personally, this is not Mark or Josh saying it, I think everybody ought to have some sort of stop loss. I don't care if you can afford to lose 80% of your money. All right. And so I'm telling you that even while we were talking, I had some stop losses set in meme coins. All right. So I wanted to say that I did that. We will have, I believe, even if, let's just say the party's over, right? Like that stupid Devadex commercial. Party's over, folks. Listen, I think that we're going to have higher lows with Bitcoin. I can't tell you about altcoins. Meme coins are still going to get wrecked in crypto winter. But I believe we're going to have higher lows. Some of you know I've had 3 of the world's largest Bitcoin miner CEOs on my show. And I believe we're going to have higher lows. That's why they're still buying Bitcoin. That's why they're still buying Ethereum. And There are banks right now green lighting loans on your crypto, including Coinbase is setting up lending on your Bitcoin,
Yeah.
right? And so Bitcoin, I'm still hugely bullish on Bitcoin. We
Yeah.
will have $250,000 Bitcoin eventually. Let alone somebody said Bitcoin will never hit 100,000. One day we're going to be sitting here and celebrating Bitcoin at 500,000 one day. All right, but it's going to, like Josh said, we're going to have to fight for that right now because there's going to be a lot of liquidations and flush and fear. Now, I will end by saying this, Josh. The thing that you got to understand now with everything that we've all told you, with the tariffs, with the higher inflation, remember, higher inflation, lower Bitcoin, lower inflation, higher Bitcoin, right? Or crypto. And then we had the summit, and then we had the meme coin rug pull. With everything going on, all crypto need is one bad news story. Just listen. If we get one bad crypto news story like the Mt. Gox or the FTX or just in the space of the crypto portfolios, right? If we get one of those bad news, you're gonna wish you're gonna had some stop losses set,
Yeah.
right? But now, having said all of that negativity, I still think that we will have retracement and we will come back. And just like that's just like I pointed out, and I hope I wasn't backwards. In a regular bull run, we could have literally, when we go up, you could see that that's March, right? We could see that it was good to sell if you're swing trading. It was good to sell when we were in extreme greed, and it was better to buy when we were in extreme fear, right? In a cycle where we know we have a lot of room to go up. But right now, it's news driven. I yield the floor.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Larry. I really value your insight, and that's one of the reasons why I appreciate you coming on today, late and last minute notice. Guys, there is a link for Larry's YouTube page in the description of this video. It'll also be pinned in the top comment. Spy Lord, what's Spy Lord doing in a crypto conversation? Spy Lord has joined the conversation. I'll tell you why he's here, because he studies the charts and he's got good insights. But there's a link right now for Mark's Tribal Trades is the name of his YouTube page. And I'm going to get Spy Lord's. It's called Spy Lord Scalps is the name of his YouTube page. And he's straight spy with some crypto in there. He's been a SUI expert. He's studying those charts. Why? Because he's trying to make money like the rest of us. Okay, a couple important questions, and then I'm going to get into what cryptos, if I dropped that big figure that I'm not allowed to talk about here on YouTube, otherwise the SEC starts looking at me. What am I going to be looking at? I'm going to share the coins of interest to me, and everyone's going to say, what about SHIB? What about Doge? What about? You do you. I'm only sharing what is of interest to me. If tomorrow we began to fall into the cold depths of winter, these are the ones that I'd be watching, and I would be building my fib levels that I believe they would hit. Basically, they're all going to come down 90 to 95 to 98%, folks. If you haven't read the crypto memo, they're all going to die in the winter. That's how this has always worked. Everything will die. Everything will die. So I'm going to give you my list here in just a minute. Thank you, guys. We're only 20 likes away from 1,000, and I'm just trusting you guys that you'll get it up. But let me just welcome Michael to the show. Michael, any thoughts real quick on what you've seen, the breakdowns we're getting? Are you using your stop losses? Are you buying any of this right now?
Josh, I've not bought, brother. I bought the other day. I think the last time you had me on, and we got that little run on SUI, and it came right to the line that we charted on that show and stopped. So I was out when it stopped, I got out with a stop loss, and I'm sitting on the sidelines right now. I do see we've made a kind of a double bottom on the 1 hour chart around 225. So I'd like to see that hold. Other than that, I wanted more out of the crypto summit. I went back and watched it. I watched it on Larry's page. Hello, Larry.
Did
I'm a
you?
big fan, brother.
Hey, how you doing, brother? I finally see how you look.
Yeah, man. Not as handsome as Josh said, huh?
You know, we got two musicians in the house.
That's right.
It's not me.
Talented and creative people. I don't know if Mark, I don't think he's a musician, but I got the tambourine, and Mark's
He
going to
plays
sing
the
along
radio.
when these guys begin to jam.
I got
All
the
right.
triangle.
He's got the triangle. The cowbell, brother. I'm going to bring that cowbell in hard
The
because I know
cowbell.
what you want. Okay. A couple important questions here. And I want really short answers. We're going to lightning round some questions, and then I'm going to get to the cryptos I'm watching and why. And you guys are going to love how I'm going to take one of your beloved cryptos that's on my list and beat the living daylights out of it.
Oh,
I'm going to
Lord.
fill this comment with people that love this crypto and hate me. It's coming up here shortly. All right, real quick though, lightning round, Larry. I'm gonna defer to you on a couple of these, guys. Can Bitcoin rally if the market rallies? Normally, Bitcoin rallies with QQQ. I think the commentary is the macro, right? So basically, can Bitcoin rally if the QQQ rallies, or if the QQ fails to rally? Doesn't mean that Bitcoin won't rally either.
Yes. The Bitcoin absolutely can rally if the QQQ rallies. On news that the tariffs, which is going to increase inflation, on news that the tariffs are done, we're working things out, that Bitcoin can rally with the QQQs. Yes, but I can tell you right now, and I keep saying this, I said this in 2021, you're not going to have a Bitcoin bull market while the stock market is tanking. It's not going to happen.
I agree with that. Guys, when you look at volatility and the options that have been purchased in volume regarding next week and the week to follow, I'll give you guys this analysis that also are suggesting that next week we're largely going to be neutral or up. And so to answer Vinnie Mac's question, you don't think Friday was the dead cat bounce? No, I don't. I think when we come all the way down to the 200-day moving average, we'll probably have 3 to 4 days or a full week of a bounce. I think as we get closer to the end of next week, Thursday and Friday, I think that if we begin to see accelerated selling, we should take high caution. But I do believe that Friday, Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, beginning with the CPI, we're going to see the dead cat bounce, or we're going to see it continue into a rally to Friday. At the moment, if you look at the contracts on the VIX for the following week, it suggests that they're expecting a downside. So I can't be more clear to you. I'm doing the best I can. This week, dead cat bounce. Thursday, Friday, back to high caution. Be careful with long-term investing. Not everything is going to do the same thing. But this week, I think we're going to see a rally. I think we might be seeing this ugly dip here on Bitcoin, and we could see a reversal here later in the evening. And this is one I'm watching carefully. And I think if we get a wick, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt because we could have a good 7 days ahead of us. But real quick, Mark, give me your thoughts real quick about just this particular transition. Dead cat bounce, markets, and the macro. Your thought on the macro environment, and then a quick thought from you, Michael.
Yeah, I think, and I'll bring in this question from one of the viewers here. Where do you see the bottom of Bitcoin? It's almost below 81K. And I think the macro environment that I mentioned,
It
those
is
things.
below 81K. I'm sorry. It's below 81K. It's in the 80s now.
Yeah, it's below 81K. Thank you, Larry. And so you see all those
Larry,
things.
turn up the mic a little bit. Turn up your mic a little bit.
Okay, yeah, it's below 80K right now.
Yeah, very
Bitcoin
good.
is.
Thank you.
Below 80K. And so basically, people have asked me what's my line in the sand. Well, if you look at the last two cycles, the 50-week moving average, a full candle open and close below that marked the end of the bull market. Okay. Now we don't have data before that because the 50-week didn't exist on some charts, but the last 2 times. But in the April and May drop of 2021, it came down and tagged it, had a open above it, but a close just below it a couple of times at that $28,000 level before it shot back up to 69,000. So that is a crucial area. Now, look, that doesn't mean that we can't go down lower and wick below and hit that 73 and that 72K, Josh, that you put on your charts there. And maybe even down into that retest the previous cycle all-time high. But the 50-week moving average, that's sitting currently at $75,000 and change. And so that's a good one to have on the charts, to add to your charts and keep an eye on that. It's not going to move a whole lot because it's a very slow moving average. But if we were to see a candle on the weekly time frame open and close below that level for the last 2 bull runs, that has marked the end of the bull run, and we've capitulated further down from there. So that's something that I'm keeping an eye on. I think the macro stuff that we talked about earlier with the tariffs, the inflation data, would be very interesting to see what comes out there. And I think you gave some wise words, Josh, about being very cautious what happens after that and how the market responds to that. And I would like to see, even if the bull run is over, which I don't think that it is, if it is, there should be some kind of rally or dead cat bounce or something to give people kind of a hope. And that could be a time where people can actually exit their positions if they felt that they needed to. And I agree with Larry too. I think he gave some great wisdom there. I get asked this all the time, where should I sell this? Where should I sell that? Where should my stop losses be? Well, it really depends how much money you have in a position, what you bought it in, how much that money means to you, and how much of a loss you're willing to take on that. Now, that might be different for Larry than it is for me, than it is for Josh, than it is to our friend Spy Lord over here. And so that is something to work out and have a strategy. Now, look, you can get some guidance from each one of us on what we're doing and what the charts are saying and key levels of support and resistance, for example. But at the end of the day, it ultimately should lie with the person to have. Everybody needs to have their own trading strategy to know when to get out to the upside and when to get out to the downside.
I love that. Real quick, there was a question here, and I'm going to get Michael your response after I show a chart. But JH said, we're going to 68K, losing all of the post-election gains. And another gentleman, forgive me if I forgot your name, talked about the fact that Bitcoin, Larry likened Bitcoin right now to the previous cycle. Let's take a quick look, and we're going to get to some things, guys. Be patient with us, and then we're going to wrap this show up. Let me get over here real quick and make a point of something. So looking at the Bitcoin chart, this is the last cycle. We had the top at 64, and then later on, it closed at 69, and I think we had a top at 74. I can't remember. But here's the thing. It went down 50%, guys. Actually, 57. Do you see that number right there? I drew this percentage gauge from the top of the peak here to the bottom. It had a 57% correction before giving us a second top. So, the idea that we could drop below 72 right now in the next, really even this evening, right? That we could wick down to 72. That would actually only be from the top. It would be an improvement. Watch, because you'll hate it when you see it. That's only a 34% drop.
Exactly.
Okay. That's a baby drop. Now, if you ask me my opinion, will that happen? The answer is very likely. And I will also tell you that 72,000 is absolutely it's a previous price consolidations. Let's talk about it. We have resistance, 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 resistance. If it gets tested, it very likely will prove to be support. And so that's what we're looking at. Now, if we do get that hit, I'll make another hard prediction. Now, you guys, you want to listen to the ones that I say a hard prediction, and then I'm going to tell a little funny story. When I make a hard prediction, if we hit 72 in the next 24 hours or next 36 hours or 48 hours, it does mean to me that we will not have a 150K Bitcoin this cycle. Okay. I just believe that it is that we will end up with a higher low or a higher high but I don't think that if we hit as low as 72K, that we'll actually get much above 120. And that's a hard prediction, which it brings me back to something I said earlier, that if I do buy this coming dip, I already told you guys where I'm selling. If I buy this coming dip in the low 70s, I'm going to sell it between 100 to 116. And it's because I'm not greedy. In truth, I'm actually getting a second round on crypto. Michael, I'm just curious. You don't have to, but you've spent some time on the Bitcoin chart. We talked about it recently. Do you think we're going to hit this 72K?
Yeah, I've got 70. I got 72. I've actually got 73.5 and then all the way down to 66. That would be my between 73 to 66. I think you probably see it once around the 70 mark. But
well, what's interesting about what Michael just told you guys, and I have a sheet in front of me that I'm just my notes. I didn't mention it, but under 72, my next support is 66. So one of the reasons why I have him on is that he's good at what he's doing. He's good at what he's doing. Okay, real quick, let's talk, guys, about what cryptos. I'm thinking about the opportunity that I'm going to get one more great opportunity to make money here in 2025. The macro environment, Wall Street's scaring me. Everything is bearish. The trends is ugly. I'm having to have every 10-minute hit of copium. I'm done with the hopium. I'm on copium at this point, waiting for the markets to reverse and get bullish again. Having said that, whether we get this reclimb above 94K, remember 94K was my trigger for the bull run to be back on. If we get back above 94K, then I'm going to be bullish, right? But if we don't, I'm just as excited. And I had a dinner with a family member who wanted to get into crypto. And I said to them, listen, the opportunity for crypto hasn't changed. Most people won't buy in the winter. In a very short amount of time, if the top is behind us, start getting yourself positioned, put some cash in a crypto account on the sidelines and get prepared to buy. I said, because it'll be hard to buy the winter, but if you do, people said, Josh, do you believe that that crypto is broken? The answer is absolutely not. Crypto isn't going anywhere. Bitcoin isn't going anywhere. Some cryptos will rise and fall. If we don't see Ethereum make a new high this cycle, then we might be really talking about the death of the number 2 crypto. I'm not predicting that. I'm just saying it needs to run. It needs to run. Yeah. Before I go into my short list of cryptos I'm watching, that's going to be a feisty conversation. Mark, your thoughts real quick on Ethereum.
Ethereum was coming.
Well, look, I struggle with Ethereum because, it would have just been better to be in Bitcoin. And Bitcoin has absolutely smashed it over the last 3 years. Since the cycle top in November of 2021, you would have made much more money had you been in Bitcoin. Add to that, you don't have a Bitcoin foundation continually printing coins and dumping it on the market like you have with Ethereum. So I do really struggle with that. I just think, what do you say? Price is truth. And just look at the charts. Bring up the ETH BTC chart and see what's going on there. Bring up the ETH dominance chart. This was a coin that had 22% of market share. If this was the stock, what would you be saying, Josh? This is now, I believe, under 10% of the market share. It has absolutely capitulated. Now, I'm not prepared to say that it's dead. And I'm not saying to anybody that they should dump their ETH, but I warned everybody about this in July when all the ETF news came out and it didn't pump like Bitcoin. I got out of that sucker. I sold between 4,000 and 3,600 was the last sale that I got in before it capitulated. And it's come back a couple of times to $4,000. And I told people I know what I'd be doing if I had Ethereum and it came back to $4,000. I would have pulled the plug on that thing. I would have pulled the life support on that thing. So look, I don't think we need Ethereum to have an altcoin season or altcoin rally because we've already had a couple of big moves in altcoins without Ethereum. My opinion on it is that it's not something that I'm looking to personally invest in a token where they can just keep printing tokens, adding to the supply whenever they feel like it. And this is an altcoin that had a big lead on every other altcoin out there. It got an ETF, and kaput, nothing really happened. And Solana even outperformed Ethereum without an ETF. You can look at the Solana Ethereum chart. So did Sui and others. So yeah, so I'm bearish on Ethereum right now, but I'm not saying that it can't have a run or a moment, but I do fear for it.
Okay, let me do a quick round. I'm gonna come to you, Michael, in a minute. I took everyone knows I took chance on Ethereum 2 times this cycle. Both times, first time I made money, second time I lost a little bit of money, but 3 strikes, it's dead to me. I got to go with Kevin O'Leary's view. If I get into Ethereum and it burns me one more time, I promise you, I will never buy that again. Okay, Larry, thoughts on Ethereum before I just real brief, if you don't mind. I'm going to get to Michael too.
You're fine.
I'm like you, Josh. I made a lot of money with Ethereum in 2021. It's just not working this time. It's just not working. We keep hoping against hope, and it's just not working. Like Mark said, I'd rather have my money in Bitcoin. Yeah. I've had very little Ethereum this time, and that was a good move for me. But I don't have a lot of hope in Ethereum. Actually, I would put, even today, this is just me, it's not these gentlemen. Even today, I would put more money in Sui than I would Ethereum, and I definitely would put more money in Solana than Ethereum. That's my personal view.
You know I am not going to argue with you. Michael, thoughts on Ethereum real quick before I move on?
Man, I'll tell you, Josh, I bought through the winter and tripled my Ethereum. I bought at 1,000 and 1,100, like you all was saying 2 or 3 years ago, and I sold mine at 36 or 3,700.
Yeah. And that helps. That helps. That helps, guys. Real quick, I want to be very clear. I don't want anybody walking away with an incorrect message. I am leaning heavily towards the idea that Bitcoin's going to have a crash here imminently. It could even happen while we're on this live. Not trying to scare anybody, but the technicals look terrible. The momentum to the downside's accelerating. We're getting ready to potentially cross the recent low that we made. And it's possible that we could see 72K. If we do, your alts will get slaughtered. Now, I don't want anyone to panic sell, because in an hour, if this reverses and goes on a run, don't come back and blame me. Keep in mind, I'm not even in right now. But no, I don't. I do believe the bull run is not over, but it depends on what your definition of the bull run is. Because if your definition of the bull run requires us to get a higher high, well, then we're not on the same page. If your definition of the bull run is that we could still go up and hit 100K again, then that's my view that we're still in the bull run then. I don't believe that all of the tests of 100K have been booked, not at all. So I just want to be very clear about that. But let's talk about my short list of cryptos that I'm going to be buying. I have Bitcoin. I never sold my Bitcoin. And, it makes me a little sad to see it come off the top, but I don't need the money. And I think Bitcoin is something that is very unpredictable. And I don't want to be in a situation. I said this to Larry Jones last time. We both said it to each other. And I think we're both on the same page. A couple of years back, we said, I'm not sure I'll even ever sell my Bitcoin again. Right. Even if it runs up to 110 and comes back to 50 or 60, I'm not sure that I would be upset if I didn't sell it. I think somewhere along the way, my journey in crypto was that I became a little bit of a Bitcoin maximalist. Maybe it was the Bitcoin conference and listening to Michael Saylor tell me that one day each Bitcoin would be 48 million. And I thought, well, shoot, I got so much Bitcoin, I got so many kids, and I'll probably have so many grandkids. Let's start thinking about where this could go. Bitcoin hasn't been failing us. Guys, it went from 15,500 to 110,000. It did it in under 2 years. Now, Michael's been with me for a while. Michael, you told me that you remember hearing me advise people to buy ADA at 20 cents.
That's right.
And to load up in the winter. And from what I understand, you did, didn't you?
I bought a few of the worst performing coins and still tripled and quadrupled because I bought through the winter with you and Larry.
Yeah.
There you go, guys. There you go. So, guys, we're going to do it again. And quick, shameless plug for the Discord. I am going to keep that Crypto Gems folder, and I'm going to tell you that you're going to see what it is I'm buying and when I shift. And if you look at the big picture, Even if we go in the winter and crypto bleeds and your portfolio bleeds, you should be thinking 2 years down the road, even if this is over right now. So let me tell you my hot short list of cryptos that I'm interested in, and that these will be adjusted. And that's why I'm saying get in the Discord over the long run and pay attention to what I'm going to be posting, because I will tell you the exact spot that I technically identify we will go to on all of these. And when it is, if we're in, I don't believe we're in the winter now. But at some point when I call the winter, I'm going to then tell you where it is I will buy these. And I'm going to tell you, it's not even going to be complicated. It's going to be between 85 and 95% down. I'll let you know my strategy, and I will adjust based on performance. But here's the list. Number 1, I will be buying more Bitcoin. Number 2, and it's not Ethereum, it's Solana. Unfortunately, if Ethereum doesn't have a runaway 6 to 9K peak in this year, if it doesn't have that, then I think we could all say that Solana, even though it doesn't have the market cap, it has the best secondary performance for a smart contract-based project that's out there. Ondo. These are not necessarily in order, but I'm a huge believer in the future of Ondo. I can't really say enough about it. I do believe it'll get cheap in the winter. It'll be utterly beaten down. It hasn't gone through a winter yet, thus it's not been tested. But I want to get Ondo at 10 to 20 cents. And I think that it will go up an easy 10x. That's my personal belief. And so I can tell you, if you put a big bag at the right time, that could be a big surprise in the next cycle. Sui. I'm still a believer in Sui if it comes back to 30 and 40 cents. And yes, it absolutely could get there in the dead of the winter when everybody is telling you that crypto's over. Everyone will turn their back on it, and then there'll be buyers like me again, and Larry and Michael and Mark. XRP. We're going to take a break here on XRP, and I'm going to give you my next 4. But I've titled this section Porn and Politicians. What do they both have in common? Let me tell you. Now, I got accused of prolificating, malicious lies about XRP. But guys, I'm going to tell you, and the fact is they spent hundreds of millions of dollars on OnlyFans girls right at the right moment to push this to crypto bros. And I'm not talking about investing bros. I'm talking about, the crypto degen world, right? All these guys that love the cartoon characters of the memes, sitting in front of their computer, watching candles, break their monitors. They did. And it's one of the major reasons why XRP pumped. And then after that pump, a lot of you don't know that there was millions of dollars spent by them lobbying in Washington to get cryptos, altcoins added to this crypto basket. And I'm going to make people get in trouble because I'm going to say that, yes, some of that money made its way to Donald Trump. And yes, that's why XRP out of nowhere, that's why its name got thrown in. And it's my speculation, and you could say, Josh, these are malicious lies. It's my speculation that Donald Trump did get some XRP money, just like the OnlyFans girls. You guys are going to get so mad at me. I told you that he did get some of that XRP money, and he wasn't able to put it justifiably in the crypto basket. So the minimum he had to do is to give him a tweet. Well, the best I can do for you boys is give you a little tweet. We got this false tweet, which got rescinded the next day. And it's just so much manipulation. My dislikes are popping off on the video. But I'm going to tell you that porn politicians, and unfortunately, Josh is going to buy a little XRP because dang, these guys know how to hustle. You got to respect the game. Now, I'm going to pause there and let these guys see if they want to touch this.
Josh.
Go ahead, sir.
You got me sitting here like Marco Rubio when Zelensky and Trump went at it. I'm sitting there like this.
I love it.
Now, all I got to say to that is, Josh said that, not me. Next
Mark, any commentary, on this? I mean, first of all joking aside, I actually followed Larry You know, I had XRP started to pump. I went and researched why. That's what I came up with. I made a buttload of money. We're talking tens and tens of thousands of dollars on XRP. Matter of fact, it became my primary vehicle. Oh, that I would love the day that XRP begins to run like that again, because man, did I make a lot of money, guys. I won't even tell you about it, but some of you know. A lot of it was made on XRP. XRP, because of their success in this market, they showed me that they're relevant. They're not going anywhere. Whether the tech is good, whether the tokenomics is good, whether Ripple needs them or not, it doesn't matter. These guys have deep connections. You know, they got deep connections with the SEC. And you say, well, Josh, I thought you said that, you know, the SEC was against XRP. That's a more complicated story, which I won't even talk about. But there's members of XRP that were aligned with the SEC, and there was members that were not aligned. But the fact is, that's a complicated coin with, and they're right in there. They spent a ton of money on politicians after they did it with the gals, and that's why this has been such a crazy roller coaster. Because of it, if it drops to near nothing in the winter, I'll give them another chance. Mark, what's your thoughts? Mark's like, I don't want to touch it either.
We all three Marco Rubio, Josh. You drop it.
I think it's well documented that I struggle with the supply of XRP, 100 billion tokens. I mean, Solana doesn't even have 1 billion tokens, let alone 100 billion. And the fact that the majority of those tokens are owned by Ripple, over 30,000 blocks are missing from the original ledger of XRP, the original ledger. We don't even know who owns a whole bunch of the rest of the supply there because it's mysteriously missing. So, you know, what I struggle with is where I see influencers pushing, you know, like a 500 XRP or $1,000 XRP. I mean, just to get to $20 or $30, XRP would have to flip Bitcoin. Okay, would have to completely flip Bitcoin and become the number one cryptocurrency. A lot of people were talking, oh, you know, Elon Musk is going to use it for X payments, but then he partnered with Visa because a lot of people don't know that Visa actually processes transactions faster than XRP. People are saying, oh, it's going to replace Swift. It's not faster than Swift. So, you know, I think there are some people out there that probably would help themselves by becoming a little bit educated in the space and not get carried away with these really big numbers that are being pushed out there that I just don't feel are grounded in any sense of reality there. So I think that XRP no doubt has tech. It processes transactions per second, but not as fast as Visa and nowhere even close to the speed of Sui or Solana, which just obliterate XRP in speed of transaction. Now, as far as a trade goes, sure, long it, short it, sideways it, however way you like, up and down, make some money off it, profit off it. But for me, it's not a long-term hold. And I would say for you, Josh, it's not a long-term hold either because you're just trading in and out at the moment, being a trader's market. But those are my thoughts. I just think if people are going to make decisions, make the most educated decisions as you can and do some research on that. Don't just follow the latest YouTuber telling you XRP is going to $1,000.
And Michael, you want to touch this XRP topic today?
I'm so out of touch with XRP. I don't have anything much to say about it
okay.
other than
well, let me give you the rest.
Can I say something about XRP?
XRP Maxi.
You know,
under 210.
I like Michael, guys. You follow Michael because he keeps it simple. He keeps it real. Yeah. He's smart with the charts. Okay, Link is like the oracle of crypto. You got to have some Link. And it's a survivor and it's a best-in-class performer in its category in this crypto cycle. You haven't heard me talk a ton about it, but I mention it quite frequently. And this is one that I think could have an explosive move. It really didn't have the move that we were expecting. Its move was very muted. The party's not over. We are going to get that additional wave in crypto from my point of view. And so, but even if we didn't, and we went into the winter, you got to know Link will be on my chart. Aave. This is another one that I think has emerged out of the legacy projects and shown that no, it's not just a 2021 hot coin. It's a 2025 hot project as well. And then the next three are a little bit surprising. And first of all, I didn't put it on my list because at the moment, meme coins are dead to me. But you know that I will be buying some Doge. You know, I love Doge. If I'm anything army, I'm a little bit Doge army. Okay, then Mantra OM. This one's been strong, man. This one's been strong in the face of weakness. And then, even though I thought that ADA was dead to me, I think that they paid. They paid, you know, and didn't pay as well as the Ondos and the Suis, but it's a respectable survivor. And I think that if it got back down to a, you know, I want to see what it does in the peak of this cycle. I'd like to see more from it, but I'm going to have ADA on my ongoing watch list because it's a late stage performer, and I'm going to be keeping my eye on ADA. And then we all have to have a conversation. This isn't one I've spoken about it much at all, but I'm going to talk about Gate, okay, GT. And let's go look at that chart because it doesn't make any sense. Real quick, let's get over there real quick. Gate.io, guys. This is I hate tokens from platforms. Give me a second. Let me pull it up.
Me too.
I've never liked them, but someone, I got market cap. Be patient with me, guys. All right, let's right here. Okay. Look at the, wait, that's not it. Yeah, let me pull this out to the 1 week. Okay. Mark, I'm going to let you respond, but this thing is defying everything. I mean, this is the only thing that's whooping, you know, it's one of the few things whooping Bitcoin's butt. I mean, this hasn't slowed down at all. Where the heck is this going to go if the market recovers? Are we going to get a $100 Gate token? I'm curious your thoughts on this.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't even know Gate.io had a token. I know most exchanges do, and they use them. If you buy Gate or if you buy exchange tokens, you can get some kind of benefit for APR, or you can get in on Launchpad. So I'd be interested to know what the narrative is behind driving it and when possibly that narrative may finish. Because sometimes you see that with certain tokens, they run and they run, but then the narrative may finish. Like an exchange token may have a super, super high APR if you lock it up until this date, and when that date finishes, the token really, really drops off. So it'll be interesting to know what the narrative is for that. I don't know if you know, Josh. Or maybe
a little
Larry
bit.
knows
I understand that they've had some DeFi. They have extremely good tokenomics. They have an extremely limited supply. And if I had to define the number one narrative, it's that they have a strong, aggressive burning plan. So the little they have, they're actually diminishing. And so it's deflationary. And, you know, and so far, I think they've been very successful this particular crypto cycle. And we are still trying to figure out who the emerging leaders are in this exchange world. We know that Binance and Coinbase are really the top dogs, but it could be that while nobody's paying attention to it, that they're coming along with some very strong leadership and their coins looking solid. So largely it's a burning case. And so all I'm telling you is even if we don't put it on the winter list, it should be on your watch list because it is literally shooting straight up when everything is hitting the floor. So what that means is when the market turns around, where's it going? Could it 2x from here? I think it could. So keep it on your list, guys. But that was my list. Let me recap it. And these are the ones that I'm going to be watching. And here's the main thing I want you guys to understand. It will change. It will change. I had it happen in the last winter that I had two coins, actually 4 coins dropped off my list midwinter. Okay. Later on, one was brought back. So my list will change and others were added in the middle of the winter. Right now, it's Bitcoin, Solana, Ondo, Sui, XRP, Link, Aave, Mantra, ADA, and Gate. And Gate is just a new one that I've begun to watch because of its performance. But real quick, I'd love to hear from you guys. Doge will be there. Doge will be there in the background. Larry, real quick, give me one or two that you've been thinking, hey, if we really did fall into the winter, these are my must-haves.
Bitcoin, Bitcoin, and Bitcoin. Um, and then I'm going to fall down into some SUI. I like Link. I like Ondo. I like Ava. I like those. I always wait to the following cycle before I pick my altcoins. So I'm not gonna. I mean my meme coins. So I'm not gonna mention those. But those are the ones that I'm the strongest on. But the next cycle, I will be even heavier into Bitcoin and less in altcoins from day one.
Thank you. Real quick, before I get to you, Michael, I have the heart emoji because you're going to have a little courage to trade. This isn't for the faint of heart. Larry's got the cup of coffee emoji because he's teaching the principle of long-term investing, and that if you actually didn't spend that $7 to $5 at Starbucks every day and put it into quality companies, that you will get rich, not to neglect Wall Street. Now, that's my interpretation of why he's got the coffee. He could expound on it. Mark has been given the kiwi because he's from New Zealand. Michael, what's your emoji, bro?
Oh man, that's a good one. Maybe a guitar. I don't know.
You don't have to answer today.
In the background, he's got like 5 emojis back there. He's got like 20 guitars sitting back there.
Yeah, it could be the guitar. Could be. We'll let him decide. Love God and neighbor. He's got. I like that. Sweat and blood. I don't know what that is. Mark, real quick, give me a couple, and I want you. I'm going to expect your list to be slightly less traditional or slightly less top 25 because you are a little bit more broad in your scope on micro coins and low cap coins. What are your picks? Give me some picks, brother.
Well, for the bear market, I think those are the coins that I would want to pick up at the bottom of the bear market. But you know, the millionaires are made in the bear market. That is the key. Some people who came in late, they're down because they came in late. If you'd come in at January 2023 or June 2022, a lot of those coins like Bonk and others did huge amounts before some people even arrive to the bull market. Timing is so important. But, you know, for me, I think with SUI and Ondo, my list is, for bear market buying is going to be very small. Bitcoin, obviously, Potenza Tau, which is one that I don't think gets a lot of love.
I like Tau.
And I'm not sure why. It's got 21 million supply. It's an AI blockchain. I've sent it around. It takes fractions of a second and is very fast. And Barry Silbert, you know, who was the OG for the Bitcoin ETF, had the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust like 10 years before the ETF came into existence, was buying Bitcoin at $11, has been urging people to buy Potenza Tau as well. So that's a big one that I'll be looking to accumulate in the bear market. Obviously, one of our Discord favorites, Sonic, I think will be my wild card low cap that's in there. Again, because it has a small supply, I think they burnt some of the supply, only about 8.5 million left of the supply. I mean, we called that one in the Discord at 2 cents, and it went all the way up to $4.77. Now it's back around that 30-cent region, and I know people have started to reaccumulate that one. It could go lower, and that could be a one that if you picked up some supply in a bear market, that could really, really go nuts. And I'm with Larry. I kind of wait and see what comes out of the bear market, the new bull market, and what emerges there before I kind of commit to those low caps. Because let's face it, the low caps are risky because most of them are dead. They will never come back in the bear market. It's over because they just don't have the revenue to survive because no one's buying their token. That's why I do like Sonic, because they have revenue coming in. They generate revenue. I think they survive the bear market and come out stronger the other side.
Hey, Josh, can I say something about
Yes,
XRP?
sir.
I would add a little XRP to that list, and it'll probably be my lowest. And that's because of the biggest thing positive about XRP. And I want to be straight. Okay. Now, I was fearful of the over pumping of XRP. I got botted. Josh and I have had a lot of conversations off air that the fear we had of the amount of fake pushing of XRP, right? And whenever Mark will tell you, and Josh will tell you, whenever they're advertising that strong, that's a warning sign, right? But they have positioned themselves, even if they front end with a lot of FUD, they have positioned themselves well. And the biggest and most bullish thing I have for XRP is actually the stable coin. I believe the stable coin is the most bullish thing. And that's why I'm going to keep a little XRP. Well, should I say start accumulating during crypto winter. So that I will say positive about XRP. But it will probably be close to the lowest amount of coin that I have out of all of the coins that I have.
Thank you, Larry, for that. I appreciate that insight on XRP. Morgan Powell asked, "Hi, Sui versus Link for bigger gains this run." I'm gonna let Michael answer that question. Michael from Morgan Powell. Hi, guys. Sui versus Link for bigger gains this run.
For coming run for the next bull market.
Well, yeah, we'll say ahead of us now or the next bull market.
Okay. Wow, man. I'm not great with Link, so I don't know. I know that this is my first full crypto cycle being with you guys, and I've been with you and Larry since you started this past crypto cycle. And everyone really needs to pay attention to how these guys lead. Because if you would have followed them through the whole cycle, the amount of opportunities can't be counted on all four of our fingers and toes together right now. I've watched Larry do bonk from nothing. I mean, and several times over, back and forth, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat.
So, that's where it's going to be made at. You should stay through the cycle the entire winter and follow what they're saying and listen really closely, because they're going to guide you into the right place to be.
Thank you.
I will definitely pick up Sui in the next crypto winter. I will be buying Sui. And,
I thought you might lean towards Sui, but I'm gonna jump on that Sui train with you. I like Link. And I think they'll do similar gains, with Sui doing slightly better, because you got to remember that Sui has a smaller market cap and Link's got a larger market cap. And so it's got the potential to build or gain a little bit more, because it's still early or new for Sui. So I like them both, and I'm going to buy them both, but I'm going to lean a little bit heavier into Sui. I'm going to address a little bit of Hayden. Not much. I don't want to give this too much attention, but I do want to address it because it's a learning opportunity. Mr. Tran says, "Watch tomorrow Bitcoin pump back to 89K. Then they're going to be like, oh, I'm bullish now." Guys, I've already shown you the charts. I've already told you what exactly it would take for me to believe if this happens, I believe that. Now, when people make comments like that, it's because they're just really uncertain. They don't know how to figure out who to follow. Just like at the beginning when I quoted the gentleman that said we'd be back above 100K within hours, and here we are below 80K. His credibility is shot. You're going to have to choose who you're going to follow. For me personally, you know who I'm going to follow? Me. I'm going to do me, and I'm going to do it for the next 2 years. And I've got other problems. The bigger problem is, what am I doing all this for? Who's going to be the benefitter? What is the legacy going to be? How is that money going to be distributed? Those are my concerns. But I can tell you right now, I have huge expectations ahead of us. I already did very well in this crypto cycle, and I'd be very excited looking forward to the next one. A lot of people are going to give up and walk away. I promise you that as each day goes deeper into the winter, I'm going to be getting greedier and greedier. And I'm not going to lose focus because I'm going to be watching the charts. Okay, so I think we got all of the choices out. Luis said that he made more money shorting ETH. And that's the truth. On that, I want to build a very simple idea. In the description of the video is a link to Blowfin. And this is an app that you could use to short cryptos going into the winter. I want to warn you that in many cases, I've struggled with whether I should even recommend it because it's a leveraged trading platform and you can 10, 20, 30x your position, which means that you can get wiped out in a heartbeat through manipulation. And if you don't have any disciplines in place, you're more likely going to go over there and get burned. However, if you want to short crypto, you can't do it on Coinbase. You need other tools to do it. And one of the ones that I'm on is Blowfin. I'm also on MEXC, but MEXC requires a foreign passport. I have a digital passport from Palau. Okay, real quick, I'm gonna let these guys give their final thoughts going into this week. And Bitcoin is struggling right now. It's looking pretty rough. The candle is red and flat at the bottom, which means that we're going to continue down right now. I wanted to draw attention to this moment. I wanted to let you guys know that breaking 86 gave us a huge target for 72. If we get down to 72, I'm very, very, very likely going to go in pretty heavy. If we don't have a major catalyst like a new war starting or Donald Trump pulling us out of NATO or something significant, if we don't have a major news catalyst, I think we're going to have one more pump. It's going to be either a lower high or a higher high. And my guess is between 100, one more knock on the 100K door. As Mark told you, we've only had 5 and we probably need 15. One more knock on the 100K door, or we're going to make a new high. And your biggest problem is whether you have a trade plan in place to take advantage of that additional pump. Most are not. Most are not. And most, even if we got to 116K, they wouldn't put a stop loss in to protect the move that the market graciously gave us again. Those are my final thoughts. I'm going to go to Michael, then Mark, and then Larry. Michael, final thoughts on the day.
Yeah, I'm watching Bitcoin right now, man. I do think we're going to have another pump. I would say, in my opinion, I would like to get over 100K for any kind of continuance back up towards 115 or 116 possibility. But I really don't. Without some great news catalyst, I don't see us taking a hard pump up towards 150 and 170 this cycle. I'm not seeing it myself. I'll probably scalp some on the way to 100K, and then I'll probably be waiting on the winter.
Thank you, sir. Mark, I got to get my hair cut. This video went long. I was supposed to be there at 4:30. Mark, look at this. I'm getting really I got to get trimmed up here, brother. Mark, what's your final word on this?
I just think the importance of trading the trend. They have the saying, the trend is your friend until the end, and then you create a new trend. And I think maybe people have been trying to buy a dip that keeps dipping. And you, I think, brought up a great point about shorting the market. If you know how to buy a coin at $10 and sell at 15, you can learn how to buy a coin at 10 and sell at 5 and make money. You can do that with Blowfin and MEXC, and you can short with as low as 1x leverage, by the way, as well. And you can start a lot of these places. I think Blowfin and MEXC both have demo paper accounts, so you can learn and get wrecked in there and make all your mistakes. We do a lot of teaching both in Josh's Discord and in my Discord as well, on teaching people how to make money when the market goes down responsibly, because then you can win when the market's going up, you can win when the market's going down, and you can win when the market's going sideways. You can win in any season, and you can develop those trading habits and skills. So I would say trade the trend. We've been in a downtrend since January the 20th or around then for the last 2 months. And so the people that have made the most money have been the ones that have bought at a certain level and then sold lower and made money, while other people may have been trying to buy the dip that keeps dipping, and that can be hard.
I love it. I love it. And I really appreciate the focus on the trend. The trend right now is down, and we need to be those who are patient and are able to buy the dip that keeps dipping. I think it's going to require a bit more patience. We are not slowing down. We're accelerating to the downside, but 72 could be another huge moment, especially as the altcoins get slaughtered. But remember what Mark said halfway through, that when Bitcoin had its second top, a lot of the alts had already topped. So just be careful about being too bullish. Larry, take
Very
us out.
good.
Final word for the show.
Yes. Number one, Bitcoin fell by 2% while we were on. That's huge for Bitcoin. And then it rebound back up. If you look at TradingView, you will see it bottomed out at 80 to the penny, 80,000, like to the dollar. And if you look at TradingView while we were talking, if we wake up tomorrow morning and they say no tariffs, and Zelensky and Trump get together and everything is fine, that will reverse the entire market, crypto and stocks. If that happens, markets reverse. So anything we're saying right now, you have to understand, is weighed against what the news story is. I have no meme coins to answer a few questions. All my meme coin have triggered. Yes, I still have some XRP, and I was heavy. I went in heavy early, remember, and I triggered losses. I just want to say this in closing. Please use your stop losses for gains and not losses, even though it says stop losses. I tighten my stop losses when I'm in high gains, but a lot of you are just looking at your losses when they're red, and then you set your stop losses there. No, when you get high, I showed Josh there were some cryptos that I had big bags in that I was up 180%, and I engaged stop losses, right? But not on all of it. I do 25%, 25%, 25%. And the last but biggest thing I want to tell you on this live is this. On the way down, we're not. It's not going to take 3 years for crypto winter. When winter comes, and we don't know, it could be soon or it could be far away. When it comes, I want you to think about when no one else is buying is the best time to buy. You've heard all four of us said we were buying in the winter. I took last cycle, I took hell because I sold a Bitcoin at 50. But then when it came down to 20, I bought two for the price of one. Follow? And then it dropped down to 20. I said, I'm buying. Then it dropped down to 18. And Josh said, guys, this is the bottom. So when we hear people go, oh, I'm going to buy through the bear market, we go, no, you're not, because you got to fight this. So the crypto has shown you all of this time now that it is going to outperform it's going to outperform the stock market. Now that you've seen a full cycle, all of us that are watching, I don't care when it comes, all of us could be wealthy. But we have to understand the biggest threat against us making it is us. I love you guys. Thanks for having me on your show.
Thank you all for watching. Appreciate you. See you in the next video.